Welcome to the final day of BSL12, the round of 24. I am Nyoken, and joining me this time is SeriOsity. The big Gyp is playing today, so we brought in a guest caster. How are you doing, SeriOsity?
Hello, doing well here today, Sunday. Excited here to cast these two groups.
Yeah, should be an exciting day today. We've got a Zerg group in Group A, and then we've got the Terran Death Squad over in Gypsy's group, so it should be a very exciting day. I know a lot of people have been waiting for a Protoss caster, and you're going to give us your expertise in the PvZ matchup, because there's going to be a lot of them. We've got 3 Zergs and then DragOn, and he's going to be playing, a couple games here, so it will be nice to have you around. So Group A is going to, or Group B actually, is going to start off for the day. It's going to be trutaCz, Ptak, Michael, and DragOn, and this is a star-studded lineup, and we're going to see if one of the newcomers in Ptak or Michael can actually make a splash here.
Yeah, and DragOn, Michael have their history. They faced off in Zoltak in the finals several years ago, but Michael won that matchup, and we haven't seen him much, so it's going to be exciting to see him here in BSL, how he stacks up after a long layoff.
Yeah, Michael played in the last season of BSL, but bombed out pretty early, I think. He didn't make it work last season. DragOn did pretty well, and Ptak is a newcomer this time around. I saw him earlier on, I think, in a show match, and he's very good, but of course, trutaCz is the superstar of this group. trutaCz always goes very far. Actually, last season, I think he got eliminated quite early, so he's looking to make a little bit of a redemption here. And then over in our second group of the day, Group F, we've got a star-studded Terran lineup. It's going to be Gypsy, Hit 'em Up, aka Logan, Medino, and Gosudark. And we're going to see if anybody can knock out Gosudark, somebody that always goes to the round of 16 or around there every single season. And Hit 'em Up and Gypsy are newcomers to actually playing in the BSL.
Gosudark, I was looking at his profile, and he actually made the round of 16 a surprising amount of times in BSL. And the format is best of one, and I think that suits his style of play. He also has an advantage, I would say, in that all he had to practice was one matchup.
Yeah, Gosudark, one of the most dangerous Protoss players in BSL. He will pull out almost anything you can think of. I always think back to the last time I played him, back when Gladiator was a ladder map. I scout him, I see a Citadel, I'm like, all right, it's DT, so I build a turret, and then there are about 20 speed zealots in my base. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that didn't help me at all. So this guy can literally pull out anything, and all the Terrans here are gonna have to be very careful versus him. But as I mentioned, our first group of the day is going to be Group B. It's trutaCz, Ptak, Michael, and DragOn. So what are your thoughts on Group B here? Do you think somebody like Ptak or Michael can make an upset here? Or is the two expected winners, my opinion, just going to make it through with trutaCz and DragOn?
I think trutaCz is a definite guarantee to advance, and then it's going to be between Michael and DragOn for that second spot. Ptak, I saw he did well in the Gosu League, but he lost against Jaeyoon in the finals 4-1, and I think DragOn is just a step above Jaeyoon in PvZ. But it's best of one, anything could happen, no guarantees.
Yeah, best of one makes this very interesting, because if you watched yesterday, Dawid was eliminated, round of 24. This was a player that made it to the finals. This is a player that you expect to maybe not win every single season, but go very, very far, and he's just out instantly. So upsets could happen. If we just simply go based on statistics, this is definitely trutaCz's group, because he is a killer in the ZVZ. He's going to be playing multiple ZVZs. It's almost a guarantee that he's going to make it out of this group easily, because his ZVZ is top notch. And then, as you mentioned, DragOn, really, really good in PvZ. He off races Zerg versus Protoss, so he has the Zerg mindset to, counter what Zerg is actually thinking. So that's definitely going to be in his favor too. But Michael is very dangerous. I know a lot of people talk about him as being the Cheese King, right? That's his AKA. So I'm sure he has something special planned for his particular matchups.
Yeah, Michael will pull out builds. He's kind of like the Zerg of Gosudark. Anything can happen.
You have any particular experience versus Michael that comes to mind?
Okay, I saw him play ZVP on Blue Storm once, and he did one hatch Hydra against Protoss, and he won. And this just so happens it was against Dragon. So
Oh, it was versus Dragon. Okay, so you know Dragon really wants to kill this guy. He's probably excited to have him as his first matchup. You know, the other day we had October Zerg pull out one hatch Muta versus Kogit. So maybe we will see something crazy from Michael here. I didn't know that. One hatch Hydra. That's something. If you guys watched ASL, somebody pulled out two hatch Hydra today. And that was an interesting move. Now we are getting a look at the statistics here. We can see that Ptak has come from Gosu League. He's a very strong Zerg. He's a very old school Zerg. For those of you that don't know, he's from Croatia. I think he represented Croatia at WCG multiple times. And then, of course, we have trutaCz on the other side. Ridiculous win rates, almost 70% across the board. He's the winner of seasons 1, 2, 6, and 7. But lately, not having as much luck there because Bonnet has just been destroying everybody. So he's looking to make a bit of a comeback here.
yeah, you can see trutaCz win rate above 70%. That's pretty hard in that matchup. Very coin flippy matchup, but if you can maintain 70% win rate, and this isn't BSL against the best of the best, that's pretty tough to do. I would say, other than Eon Zerg, I'm not sure anyone would be favored against trutaCz in a Zerg versus Zerg. So I expect him to win pretty easily.
Yeah, ZVZ, a lot of people say that it's a volatile matchup. You know, it's coin flippy matchup. But the fact that players like Eon Zerg, as you mentioned, and trutaCz have this high of a win rate, it can't just be coin flips. It can't just be winning the coin flip 70% of the time. That's impossible. And Eon Zerg even talked about how he really does or did look up to trutaCz, especially his Muta Micro, and it's top notch. I don't know if anybody has better Muta Micro than trutaCz. So any ZVZ, I'm going to be favoring trutaCz, and that includes versus Eon Zerg or even versus Ziki. So Ptak, he's going to need to come up with something special. You know, ZVZ you can win with Massling, but I don't even think that would work versus trutaCz, even if he was surprised by it. So I'm curious to see what Ptak comes up with. Some people have been going Hydraless. I've seen Gorinich use it. I saw Avilov use it last season. Evolution Chamber type of play has been kind of meta for the past year or so. So maybe that's the recipe for success for Ptak if he wants to avoid Muta battles.
If you really want to mix it up, Hydras are valid, but you need to open up in a specific way and have your opponent not go for one hatch layer. And Avilov, I'm not surprised he pulled that up. Gorinich, I've seen him do it too. I've seen Gorinich also even mix Hydras with Mutas.
Mm-hmm.
But usually it works when your opponent's Muta Micro is not up to par. Mutalists are just too efficient against Hydras.
Yeah, and also Hydralists take a bit of a penalty when fighting the Mutalists. That's another reason that you don't see Hydras that often. So a map... Oh, what just happened here?
Oh,
we just got crystallized. It's the Titan Reactor. For those of you that don't know, Titan Reactor seems to be a mod that Dark Matter and the rest of his crew has come up with for Brood War. It 3D-izes the map. I'm not sure exactly how it works because I haven't used it, but it looks quite interesting. You should definitely check out the thread on Team Liquid. It is a very cool thing that Dark Matter has come up with. You can see this is the 3D version of Polyvoid, which is going to be our first map of the day. And because Zero displayed that Polyvoid is the map, I think that means that we are ready. So let's just get into our first matchup. It's going to be trutaCz versus Ptak, a ZVZ on Polyvoid.
Let's go.
Right, so in the bottom left, in the blue, we have our Croatian Zerg. It is Ptak.
And in the top left, we have the Polish Zerg trutaCz in the color red.
So I wouldn't expect anything other than some type of Muta opener from trutaCz. You don't want to, not use your most efficient weapon, which is the Mutalith. Now, Ptak, the games that I did see him play in the show match, I think, he was quite cheesy, which actually makes me think we may see something extremely weird like 3-hatch Massling or just flat out massing off a 2-hatch very low econ. I don't even necessarily think that he'll transition into evolution chamber play. I think he may just all in Ling. But again, I have never seen, I haven't seen Ptak play ZVZ in quite a long time, so he may surprise me.
Now we have trutaCz going for 9-pool, and he is also getting that first scout, so this is going to be key.
Yeah, Ptak going to the right side. This is the standard scout for him, so is the scout for trutaCz. Unfortunately for Ptak, it's going to be the wrong direction. That's going to be gas for trutaCz, so everything looks very normal. Now meanwhile, Ptak is floating a lot of minerals. That is going to be a 12 pool. Now, tell us a little bit of the insight here. What's 12 pool effective versus? Is it good versus 9 pool?
12 pool is okay against 9 pool. It would maybe a slight advantage, but it really comes down to the link control in the early battles. It's terrible against 12 hatch. But the key here is that trutaCz is going to get that first scout. He's going to see its 12 pool, and that'll help him decide what to do with his larva. If he's just going to go 9 pool and keep making links, how many links does he need to make? What is Ptak doing? He's going to have that information. On the other hand, Ptak is going to be blind until he sees the early links, and he's not going to know, okay, look, there's the expansion. trutaCz already knows, okay, this is 12 pool.
Yeah, the hatchery goes down, and now trutaCz knows that, hey, this is most likely a 12 pool into 12 hatch play. So we'll see if he opted into the lair or speed. His first few links are already out. They're moving across the map. Now, yesterday, we saw one of the Zerg players, I can't remember exactly who it was, but they were very greedy, not keeping pace with the lings versus Eon Zerg. They tried to squeeze in a drone every now and then. And I don't think you're going to be able to do that versus someone like Eon Zerg, and definitely not versus someone like trutaCz. So Ptak's going to need to continuously build these lings.
Right, this is going to be key. This early battle, you see the drones coming. trutaCz is going to have faster speed, so it's going to come down to...
Oh, he caught a ling.
He's going around. This is terrible for the Zerg. You don't want lings in your base, especially when they're going to have speed. trutaCz picking off lings here and there. Lair on the way, speed almost done. He's going to wait for that speed to finish so you can maneuver around these lings.
Yeah, so both players have speed coming. trutaCz's speed kicks in right now. He picks off a drone. He's going to try and escape. He might get a second drone. He did get that second drone, and now he's going to back off. Meanwhile, you can see that Ptak is not mining any gas at all. So his lair's not always losing his hatchery at his natural. The speed is too fast for trutaCz. Oh, he's going to lose more lings at the natural, and this game might be already over. So many lings, so many drones have been lost. Hatchery is close to falling, and if this hatchery falls, all of the advantage that Ptak has in the larva is down the drain, and yeah, trutaCz can just leave and hold his ramp now.
All trutaCz has to do here is not die. He's already won the game, basically. This is why those lings getting into the main is such a disaster. You don't have speed to keep up with the other lings, and then they could just hit the net while you're occupied in the main. And here comes the counterattack.
Let's see if Ptak can get some damage done. The arc is great for trutaCz. Wow, he has such a great concave. Even though Ptak has more lings, he also has sunken colony in his main that he can fall back to. And now that Ptak sees the bad news that, hey, you've got a sunken, what can he really do? He's got 300 minerals, but he doesn't have a lair. He doesn't have a spire. All he can really do is either put down a hatchery or do like a sunken rush. I actually wouldn't mind a sunken rush. Pull 2 drones right now and try and catch trutaCz before his spire finishes.
Yeah, that's about his only option. I do see something coming on in the minimap, but that looks like just more links. Oh, there's the drone. It's only 1 though. 1 drone is not enough. He really wants 2. And looks like the spire will finish, and trutaCz is preparing for this. He's really just cutting off any comeback potential for Ptak here.
Yeah, so there is that drone, and he's going to build a sunken colony. Lings are going to try and deny the sunken, and this is just over. Ptak leaves, so a quick win for trutaCz, and you can see how deadly he is with lings. He didn't even get to mutas, and he just picked Ptak apart. And unfortunately, Ptak is already just instantly down in the losers bracket because this is best of 1 format.
Yeah, I didn't even get to talk about the strategy because it just ended so quickly. But basically, 12 pool against 9 pool. 12 pool has a slight advantage, but it really comes down to the link control. How many lings do you actually need to make? Because you do need to bring those drones to help defend, and you just saw trutaCz outmaneuver and win easily, which happens sometimes.
Yeah, ZVZ, you know, little things all of a sudden make a big difference. He picked off, actually, Ptak picked off the first link of trutaCz, but it didn't matter. trutaCz outmaneuvered him, made it crazy, speed kicked in, killed 2 drones, and also got the hatchery. So unfortunately, Ptak, if he wants to make it through this group, he's going to have to be a little more diligent with his unit control, especially if he faces trutaCz again, because I feel like that might repeat because trutaCz is just so good with his micro. But that's going to be the end of game 1 already. We're going to be going into our second matchup pretty soon. It's going to be DragOn versus Michael. Now, you were talking about how there was a 1-hatch Hydra build on Bluestorm. I don't think I've ever muttered those words in my entire life. And I've played StarCraft for 20 years. 1-hatch Hydra build? And you told me he won.
And he won. He picked off the Nexus. The cannons were just slightly out of range. It was on Bluestorm, so it's a one-map type of build. I think it wouldn't work on any other map, but Michael pulled it off. And I've seen him do all kinds of strategies. I've seen him do sunken campaigns where you can make hatcheries and creep outside the natural, Hydra drops, 2-hatch Hydra, 3-hatch Hydra, all kinds of builds. And DragOn, he is experienced, but there's just so many builds Zergs can do. I mean, and this is going to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, this should be very exciting indeed because you're making it
to
sound
underscore
like
creative is sub go for 14 months. Let's go BSL12. Thank you to ZZZero PL for organization.
Well, it's not random, but he's definitely very smart and he understands how to abuse the Protoss in the early game with the lack of scouting. So, of course, we are getting a recap of the bracket. trutaCz already in the winner's match. We're going to be waiting the victor of Michael and DragOn. So it is going to be Polypoid, and we're not going to see 1-hatch Hydra here, but as I mentioned earlier, ASL, somebody pulled out a 2-hatch Hydra build that could be coming into play, especially with someone like Michael at the helm. Now, as far as Protoss goes, what are you expecting to see from DragOn?
I think DragOn's going to go for Forge, Fast Expand. You don't get the super OP walls. You can get some 2-gap walls depending on your spawn, but DragOn just seems more comfortable with that Forge opening, and Michael could see 12-hatch, 11-hatch Overpull, all viable builds on a 4-player map.
I'm surprised you actually said Forge Expand because even though I'm not a Protoss player, it feels like when they go Gateway Expand, not only are they able to put pressure back onto the Zerg, but they can also get scouting off, and that limits the the openers or the all-in potential for the Zerg player. So Forge Expand, I guess you're predicting that. We'll see if DragOn opts for that. I feel like that kind of gives control to the Zerg here and makes it a little bit more dangerous. You can see that Michael doesn't have that many games played in the BSL, maybe really exclusively versus Protoss 60. Oh no, I guess it's not exclusively versus Protoss, but DragOn, he's a mainstay in BSL. He always makes it. You can see 7, 9, and 11, or season 7, 9, and 11 made it to 9th. Is that 9th to 12th? Yeah, he always goes pretty far into the BSL, and he made it 4th in the round in BSL season 6. That was the season that I played in. He's the one that got me there. So we'll see how far he can go this time around. You can see
good. his versus Zerg is so much better than his other matchups, at least in BSL.
Yeah, as we were talking, he's also a Zerg off-racer, so he understands the Zerg mindset when he's playing as Protoss. So players are ready. Let's get into game 2 of the day. It's going to be Michael versus DragOn. All right, so in the top right, our American Zerg. It is Michael.
And in the bottom right, we have DragOn, our Canadian Protoss in the color red. Map is Polypoid.
Right, so bottom right of Polypoid, I know from playing Terran and walling there often, that there's actually not that much space to build cannons. Is that something that factors into your initial opener as a Protoss player? Do you think now that he's gotten bottom right, he might go for something like a Gateway Expand?
No, I think really what it makes it's that Zerg maybe, if they know the spawns are like, okay, they can only fit this many cannon here. And it looks like DragOn is actually going to go for that Gateway Expand. I was wrong here. He's leaving the probe. He's not scouting immediately. Just going to plant that Gateway once the pylon finishes.
So it's going to be a Gateway opener from DragOn. The real question for me now is it a 9-gate or a 10-gate? is going to be a 9
9
gig,
gig.
so yeah, it's going to be as fast as possible. Now he's going to scout vertically. That means he's going to find Michael first. Meanwhile, Michael just going for a standard overpull here.
Yeah, as Protoss, when you go scout, you always scout where you don't expect the Overlord to come from, because if Dragon were to see an Overlord hitting his nat when this probe is top right, then he would know where to go. And he's going to be a little bit annoying here. That hatchery with overpull goes down at around 2 minutes, 2:05. So Dragon's just going to scout first and then camp at the net for a bit.
Well, Probe took a little bit of damage there versus the drone, so now he cannot even think about fighting the drone head on. As you mentioned, hatchery coming down pretty soon. Dragon for now just trying to be annoying, but Michael just now gets 300 minerals and it does not get denied. So nicely done from Michael there to get down the hatchery ASAP. We see that Dragon has queued up a second zealot. We'll see how many he builds before putting down that Nexus.
Super important here for Dragon to keep this probe alive as long as possible. He wants to see how many lings Michael makes, how many drones, and he sees one drone pop out and then lings. That's standard from Zerg. If I were Dragon, I would have actually just denied that natural with the pylon, because then it forces Zerg into an awkward position. Do they take the mineral only? Do they take 12 o'clock as their second hatch?
Yeah, we can see that Michael's banking up a lot of resources, and it looks like he's going to be taking top middle as his third hatch. So pretty standard follow-up. Meanwhile, Nexus went down before the Forge. Of course, he can do that. He's not facing a 9 pool, so he's not too worried about lings or an overwhelming amount of lings. 2 lings are going to try and come in here, but Dragon already has this.
Oh, it's not blocking.
There's a gap. Where's Gypsy to tell us that there was a gap? So 2 lings get into the main, and now this game's going to get a little crazy. We'll see if he can get a probe. It looks like he almost got one.
Fortunately for Dragon, it's only 2 lings, and there aren't a ton of lings coming. We saw Michael only made 2 lings, a drone, and then a couple more lings. So I think that's why Dragon planted that 21 Nexus instead of non-stop Zealot production.
Well, he might get a probe. There's one, and he softened up 2 of them, so I'm trying to see if he can find a second kill. Meanwhile, speed is coming in. Now, you can see that Dragon's not putting on any counter pressure. Now he's starting to move out with some Zealots. That looks like it's probably 3 moving out. Plus
and a probe.
Yeah, so the probe actually adds a lot of damage. We can see that Michael's banking up Ling sitting on the ramp. He's going to have speed probably in 45 seconds. Oh, he might get another probe. That one does not fall, but it's dangerously low.
Yeah, this is key from Dragon. The best way to deal with lings in your main is just to counterattack. You don't want Zerg to have his attention just in your base, and the Zealots are arriving at Michael's natural. Michael did make a ton of lings, but 3 Zealots in a probe, and this is a bad angle to engage from Michael. He's not getting that surround down.
Yeah, that's about the worst angle you can hope for. The lings are he's still killing probes in the main, and somehow those lings do clean up the Zealots. So he's gonna get another probe. How many kills do these lings have? Michael's micro right here with the lings have been amazing. It looks like does that say 3 or 4 kills in total between the 2? Yeah,
3 kills in total, and now speed is done.
Yeah, and meanwhile, the Zealot harassment has been shut down. Michael doing an amazing job. You can see that his worker count is almost the same amount of probes that Protoss has. This is amazing. He's probably going to find another kill at the bottom. Oh, it's so low.
Okay, looks like another probe goes down. 1 ling left. 1 ling is not that threatening. It's pretty easy to deal with. And he did force a cannon from Dragon, which was eventually canceled, but Dragon still lost a handful of minerals there.
Well, I wish we could get a look into Michael's main, because I see 2 Overlords outside of the natural, and that's what I was looking for. Is this going to be a Hydra bust? Because a lot of the time when you see Overlords just sitting over the natural, that means that incoming Hydras are coming, or incoming Hydras are about to show up at your doorstep. Meanwhile, Michael has great drone saturation. He can start putting down his 4th and 5th hatchery pretty soon. He's still got a couple of lings to support this Hydra bust too.
Yeah, this is 973. He added an extra few drones. Looks like his Hydra upgrades are a little bit late, but he did a ton of economic damage to Dragon. Dragon did keep up with his tech. His tech hasn't been slowed down at all, and he does have a sizable number of Zealots still, even after losing those 4.
You do see that the Citadel just started at 6 minutes, so Citadel is quite delayed. Only one cannon, that's the big thing for me, is that Dragon for now has no idea that this is incoming Hydras, and this game might just end in the next couple seconds if the Hydras don't get detected. It looks like they are just now starting to move across the map. I think that's 6 Hydras in total. Remember, there are about 8 Lings to buffer the damage, but that is a lot of Zealots. It's already 7. So I don't think that the Hydras plus the Lings will be able to have that much success initially.
Key Corsair scout from Dragon there. He didn't go straight to the main. He actually scouted the ground path to see if any units are coming in. Here we go. Here we see him adding cannons instantly.
Yep,
Hydras only have speed, no range. They do have to walk up.
The Zealots are trying to save the day. The one cannon is going to fall. A couple more are trying to get up. One of them gets up. Now all that's left is about 7 Hydras or so. The Hydras are dealing with the Zealots. They are moving back, taking no damage from the cannon anymore. But, has Dragon held on? I think he is going to hold on. The second and third cannon are going to get up pretty soon.
That second cannon Dragon main, before he scouted the Hydras, was key. If he had not had that second cannon started, he would have died there. And here he sees the Corsair. We see the Corsair scouting. He sees more Hydras in production, and this is key. It's going to let him know, okay, just keep making cannons. Once he sees the switch into drones, he can stop making.
So Ser scouts that this is going to be, just a small committal to the Hydras. He saw drones being pumped out and instantly cancels that cannon. Meanwhile, second gate going up, actually second, third, and fourth gate going up. Templar Archive coming in, but it's super delayed. I'm curious to see if that +1 weapon will actually complete for Dragon or if it's going to get canceled. Oh, it's so close. It's so close. I think it is going to get canceled. It does.
That's tragic.
That is heartbreaking because +1 is very critical versus not just Lings but also Hydralisk. That means also that Michael's going to have an upgrade advantage, and you never want that in a PvZ matchup. So we see
going up in gateways, but his tech, his archives is really late here. He sees the number of drones Michael has. It's a very healthy saturation. We could even see Michael throw down his 4th base right away. His lair is a little bit delayed, but this is normal with 3-hatch Hydra.
Yeah, we see that Dragon is putting down more and more gateways. I saw that the forge was rebuilt, but I noticed that it's not double forge, so he's just going to continue trying to upgrade off of one forge. I really would have liked to see him double forge. Oh, he loses the Ser. This is a nightmare, and that's going to be lack of scouting now for Dragon. He noticed that the lair isn't complete, so he doesn't have to worry about Spire for now, but he does need to worry about it in the future. I'm sure he'll build more Sers at some point, but for now, Dragon is completely on the back foot. Damn, Zerg has so many drones right now, 35 drones versus 40 probes for the Protoss. That is a lot of Zealots, though, but because they are lacking +1, they are not as dangerous as they should be.
We see some pressure from Dragon. This is important just to keep Zerg a little bit concerned about any kind of attack. Now Michael's going to have to make more units here. This attack isn't likely to get anything done other than just force Zerg out on the map. We do see 3 gases from Michael. So this is a little bit interesting. I wonder what he's going to do with all this gas. He's going to bank up pretty soon.
Yeah, you don't need 3 gas to support this amount of Hydras, so this is probably going to be Mutaplay. It could also be Lurkers. Meanwhile, there's no Sunken here. Zealots are going to still not have any success because there's just so many Hydras in already produced, really. So Dragon's going to have to turn around for now. Meanwhile, I did see that Double Forge is in Dragon Space, so he is going to catch up in upgrades that way. But he is... Oh, that's what I was waiting to see. How many Templars does he have? He built 5 at once. He's going to have a lot of energy on them, but these Zealots have gotten caught.
Now, they are trading decently well. They are picking off Hydras. Pick off about 6 Hydras, and they do get away. This is important. You don't want to lose these Zealots for free. It really lets Zerg just breathe. And as you can see, Michael hasn't made a single drone in about 2 minutes. So this has accomplished something, even if it wasn't some direct damage.
Well, the DT is doing work. There's no vision to detect it. Oh, as I say that, there is the Overlord, and goodbye DT. Now, Michael might be feeling confident to move in here, but if he does, he's going to eat a ton of Storms because 5 Templars are already out on the map. seems that Dragon has about 7 or 8 gateways now. I can see more gateways at the top side of his base. Mutas are coming into play, and this is what I was fearing. There's no Sairs, absolutely none. So if the Templars use up all the storms, there's nothing to combat the Mutalisk. And also, if Dragon moves out, the Mutas are just going to swoop in and pick off those Templars.
Dragon, this is a critical part of the game here, because if Dragon moves out here, he's going to lose all his High Templars. But if he just camps and waits until his Dragoon count is at a significant enough number to ward off the Mutas, he's actually in a good position economically versus Michael. Michael is still only on 5 hatcheries, doesn't have a 6th hatch, doesn't have a 4th base. So Michael needs to get something done here.
Yep, but the Mutas have been shown. They fly directly into the main. Goons have popped out, but there's only 2 cannons. Once the cannons go down, it's going to be annoying for the Goons to deal with. It seems that the Goons have range, though, so that's going to help out Dragon. And even if he loses some probes here, it's not a big deal because he already has 50 probes. You can see that Storm was a little bit of a whiff, but he does kill that Templar. He forces out another Storm that's a whiff, and he storms a couple of his own probes. You can see that he's purposely hanging around the probe line to draw a Storm like that. And luckily, it only gets like 3 or 4 probes there, but that could have been catastrophic. But he does kill all the Mutas, surprisingly.
Yeah, and Michael, again, still hasn't made any drones. He's still only on 5 hatcheries. Dragon, he lost 8 probes there, but that was 9 Mutas. I guess he did lose a few Storms and a High Templar, but I think that was fine for Dragon. He can now take his 3rd base. He can even put some pressure on. It's all going to come down to these Storms. Decent first Storm there. Huge second Storm.
Oh, but the Goons are bugging out like they're not in the fight. The Storms are amazing. They're blanketing everything, and despite having not that many ground units, the Storms are saving the day. Now Michael is eating cannon shots too, and that was not the trade that Michael was looking for. And you can see that Dragon's taking the bottom Nexus, so he's going to be on 3 bases pretty soon.
Dragon also has 1-1. That 1 armor is going to make a huge difference in these fights against Hydras.
Yeah, +1 armor, very, very important. And then it has now kicked in, so it's going to negate the +1 weapon somewhat for Zerg. Meanwhile, Michael's just attacking, man. He attacks into Goons plus cannons. Really, that was a bit of a misstep. And as he pointed out, this is not 6 hatch Hydras. And Michael has continued to not build any drones for almost 5 minutes now. So, as you mentioned, Michael has to make something happen. And for now, he really hasn't. He's not even mining gas at his natural now. Another big Storm on the high ground. It seems that now Protoss has hit critical mass, and he's going to push back this Zerg army.
A little bit a whiff on a Storm there, but he just has too much. Even with the low ground affecting the Dragoon shots, he just has too many Zealots. And the production is really what's showing here. We're talking about 5 hatches against 8-9 gateways from Dragon.
Yeah, you can see that the supplies have plummeted for Zerg. It was even a minute ago. Now it's 113 to 60. So Dragon, he's hit critical mass now. He's gotten his upgrades. He's gotten his 3rd base up and running. And Michael is struggling to keep up. And it's only a matter of time, I think, at this point, that the Zerg army is going to get overwhelmed. I haven't seen a single lurker either. There's no Mutalisk to pick off the Templars anymore. And maybe like 1 more cycle of units, and I think Dragon's just going to push to victory. You can see that 1 Templar has 13 kills. That's crazy.
Michael trying to buy time here. He really doesn't want to let Dragon to take a 4th base. I mean, this is just... Okay, it looks like the Nexus is going to get canceled, but you can see how comfortable Dragon is. He realizes he doesn't even have to attack at this point. Michael's just been all out aggression, no economy, and it's the longer this game goes on, the better it's going to be for Dragon. He has double forges, he has a 3rd gas already.
Well, I don't think this game is going to go on much longer. It's getting double, or Dragon's doubling the Zerg in supply. As I stated, there's no lurkers, there's no Mutas. Hydras are great, but when there's this many Templar and this highly upgraded Protoss army, you need more than just Hydras. Look at the Storms. They're amazing. They're hitting everything. It's almost like the Zerg just wants to stand in the Storm because there's no micro back and forth trying to dodge them, and that's GG. Dragon is going to take the game versus Michael, and the openers looked amazing for Michael, but once Dragon didn't fall, Michael just didn't seem to have any clue on how to actually, go into the mid game versus Dragon.
Yeah, it looked great for Michael. He was in the lane, killing probes. He denied the counterattack, and then the Hydras were able to get in and get some damage done. But then once it switched into the mid game, and those mutas just didn't do anything. It was 9 mutas for 8 probes and maybe a High Templar. Just not enough.
Yeah, when he swooped into the natural, I thought that Dragon might storm his own probes, like all of them. He did storm a couple, but he also got the mutas, and losing those, there were 7 mutas at that point, and then he lost all 7 mutas. And that's when it seemed Dragon got a bit more confident on where he was at that state of the game. So unfortunately, Michael is going to be moving into the losers bracket, but this is going to set up probably what we were expecting. It's going to be Dragon versus trutaCz in the winners match.
Yeah. And that's going to be exciting. We're also going to have a ZVZ in the losers match. And I mean, it's going to be exciting either way because Zerg matches are all kinds of craziness. But I just want to point out one thing. Normally at that point in the game, Zerg is on 7 to 8 hatcheries and they just have a lot more production. So that's why it looked like Dragon was able to win so easily. He was still facing a Zerg with only 5 hatcheries.
Yeah, Michael was way too aggressive with his Hydras, I guess. Tried to just commit all in. Wanted to end the game early on, and then that didn't work out, and then had nothing to fall back on. So he's going to need to work on that if he wants to take a victory versus Dragon, assuming that Dragon falls in the winners match. But this is going to be a PvZ coming at us. It's going to be trutaCz versus Dragon. We saw trutaCz last season almost be eliminated in the round of 16. I think it was Schneasel almost took him out, but simply the non-stop movement in and out of Storm, movement all over the map with pure Hydra, trutaCz was able to take the game back. Those Storms that were connecting last game, that's not going to happen versus trutaCz. He dodges Storms non-stop. Dragon's going to have to come up with a better early game because if he's facing a similar position than he was last game versus Michael, trutaCz is going to capitalize on that type of lead. He's not just going to all in on 5 hatches. He's going to have the 7 to 8 hatches that you're talking about. He's going to have a mid game. He's going to have a late game. And Dragon's not going to repeat the same way he did versus Michael.
Yeah, I think that's actually important. trutaCz is just a stronger player. And I think one of the reasons why Dragon did Gateway expand is because he really wanted to get scouting information against Michael. I think that's the most important thing against him. So gateway openings are more likely against a player like Michael, and I think Forge is probably going to be more likely against trutaCz.
Okay, so we'll be looking to see if Dragon is going to opt into that Forge. You know, I've been noticing more and more players these days have been going into the Forge. Even players in ASL have pulled out Forge a couple times. They've also pulled out 12 Nexus, which is obviously a Forge follow-up, but straight up Forge has happened a couple times. But one of the big things I have noticed in ASL is that players like Snow have been rushing +2 armor over +2 weapon. He actually has +1 weapon and +2 armor, and it's really countered the pure Hydra play. So I'm curious to see if Dragon will opt into that armor rush, and whether trutaCz will, change up from going +2 weapon instantly, or if he'll get carapace at some point. What are your thoughts on getting +2 armor versus +2 weapon first?
The meta changed in PvZ. Before, it was just a 1 Forge and you just go weapon upgrades all the way. But the longer Zerg stayed on Lair and Hydra, and then they rushed that +2 attack, the more important armor became for Protoss. So Protoss, instead of going for +2 weapons, switched to +1 armor. And I'm not surprised that's even gone further and they're getting +2 armor before weapons. Because the weapons is really key against the Lings, and if Zerg is just on Hydra production for a very long time, 13, 14, 15 minutes into the game, then the armor makes a bigger difference.
Yep, so we will see if Dragon is going to go into that armor, and we'll see how trutaCz is playing these days, because even though trutaCz has been a beast in the past of BSL, the past few seasons have not been too kind to him. Like I said, he was on the brink of being eliminated almost in the round of 16 last season. Again, we're getting a look at the map. Map is going to be Power Bond. Again, the Titan Reactor version created by Dark Matter. Such a cool feature that he's come up with. I'm not sure. I think I was reading that it was written partially in JavaScript, which just blows my mind. So Power Bond is going to be our winners matchup. So players are ready. Let's find out who's going to make it out of Group B here. Is it going to be trutaCz or is it going to be Dragon? Okay, in the top right are red Polish Zerg. It is trutaCz.
And in the bottom middle, 6 o'clock position, we have the blue Protoss from Canada, Dragon.
So Power Bond, as a Terran player, I love this map. But, you know, I off-raced quite a bit when this was in the map pool. And as Protoss, holy moly, man, how do you ever get a third base? And the third base is a mineral only. And if you take that base, there's no small ramp or anything. It's completely wide open. So what do you think Dragon's move is going to be here on a map like Power Bond? Is he just going to all in 8-gate, 9-gate, something like that?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he did commit to heavy gateway mid-game strategy, 8-9 gateways, really delay that third, try to get some map control, because if you're taking that third with only 6 gates, 6-hatch Hydra can overrun you, especially with the arc they're going to have, the concave they can form at your third base. And like you said, it's a mineral only, so it's not even that great of a base to take.
Yeah, so Dragon does have a normal gas base up towards the top left of his base, but it's a little farther away. It does have a couple ramps, so maybe he'll take that over the mineral only. We saw Jae Yoon yesterday with pure mastery of the Protoss, and he also kind of mind gamed Gornich a little bit with the Stargate, but actually there was a Citadel behind it, caught Gornich completely off guard. There's the Forge, as you were talking about, so this is going to be a more passive play, and trutaCz is going to instantly scout this. Now, you, I know, play all the races. If you first scout a Protoss and they're going Forge, what's your go-to move here?
Okay, Gornich here, he's either going to make 2 or 4 lings, and he can't really make the decision until he kills this probe. And if he doesn't kill it, then he's just forced into playing standard. But basically, this is as standard as it looks. You get overpoy against Forge. One thing Dragon did do is he delayed his scout. This is a 3-player map, not a 4-player map. So instead of going for that pylon scout, he went for a delayed Forge scout after 12. It's going to mean against overpoy, he's going to get that Nexus down right away at 13, and then he'll go cannon.
Yep, Nexus is going up. Meanwhile, that is a cannon. That's kind of awkwardly placed, isn't it? Like, you can't fit a second cannon to the left or to the right, so that's a bit bizarre to me. But we do see that the mineral only has been taken by trutaCz, so he's going 3-hatch as an opener. Meanwhile, gas coming up as a follow-up.
Whoa, one ling.
Oh, nope, it doesn't. Denied from downtown. That's a Steph Curry cannon shot right there. Takes that ling out.
It actually avoided the miss chance too, because that ling was already on the ramp.
Yeah,
now it's gonna be. No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, if that's Artosis, 100% that ling does not die. It would have definitely missed and gotten into the main. But luckily, this is Dragon here, and meanwhile, Lair is coming up, so everything looks pretty normal.
Yep, just standard here from trutaCz. You can't really do anything with one ling against the probe, so this is just stay alive for a very long time. And there's a transfer to the natural. Zealot on the way, Cybernetics Core, everything standard from Dragon.
Yep, so everything is very standard across the board. Really, we are just waiting to see whether Dragon's going to go for Stargate opener. I imagine he is, because that Overlord is just laying and waiting for the tech choice. If he was to just go blind Citadel, or well, just build a Citadel right in front of the Overlord, I mean, that would be very surprising. Now, as I talked about last game, usually when Zerg just leaves their Overlords outside your natural, you got to be a little bit worried about a potential Hydra play. But because the probe scouted for so long, he sees that there's no Hydra Den anywhere. Now the Overlords are going to turn around.
Yeah, trutaCz is aware there are Zealots out on the map. Dragon's just hiding them. And this doesn't have to do anything other than force Zerg to make Zerglings. It really just scares Zerg, and they're like, where's the Protoss Zealot? And they're going to have to be on their toes, because one Zealot can do a lot of damage to the economy. Even just forcing the drone pull is enough.
We do see that it was Stargate and Citadel, and the two Zealots are going to sync up, try and get a kill onto that drone. For now, there's a huge gap at the main, but not going to be punished by something like a mass link. Fourth hatch going down. The Overlord turned back around and went into Dragon's base. I guess he thought maybe Dragon would cancel the Stargate and do something weird, but not the case. The Stargate is going to complete, and that means that that Overlord is 100% going to die. Lings surround the first two Zealots, but the third Zealot now syncing up is going to push the Lings back. This is nice damage done by Dragon so far. He's forced a lot of lost mining time, but now there's nowhere for the Zealots to hide, so they're going to have to engage these Lings, and these Zealots are going to lose their life.
Decent micro there to get a nice engagement, but just too many links. But this is a victory for Protoss. You force Zerg to make this many links. It really slows them down. The fourth and fifth hatcheries, they're going to be a little bit later, and here he sees Dragon scouting the links. This is a ton of links, actually. He has to be careful they don't run by. There's only one Zealot blocking, and it looks like he's just going to retreat. Pulled a couple probes just in case.
Yeah, and those are Zealots. They're so hard to surround, so Dragon able to get it back all the way to his main. Meanwhile, trutaCz powering very hard. He's up to 5 hatches right now. No Hydras out just yet, so this Ser might get multiple Overlord kills. We know that the Overlord back in the main of Dragon will get cleaned up eventually. Second gate is done for Dragon. DTs are going to start coming out.
Okay, so this is key. trutaCz actually went for Lair and didn't make a Spire, so he's just going to defend the Overlords with Hydralisk. Not getting that Spire is something I've seen Zergs do. It makes your Hydras get up a little bit faster, and I mean, the Corsair production from Dragon will stall out now. He's not going to make any more. There's no Spire, no reason to keep making Corsairs, really. 1 or 2 is just fine.
Yeah, and he follows up with 4 more gateways. So already he's going to be at 6 gate production, and Dragon really is going to go hard on the ground units. I guess really does want to avoid going into the mid game, especially with that wide open mineral only. That is the 6th hatch for trutaCz. The Overlord on the left side of the map seems it was taken out. I don't know if there's even a single Overlord at the 3rd base, and the DTs are running all the way up there as fast as they can. trutaCz realizes that that's a vulnerable position. You can see Overlords are now moving into position. Can the DT get any kills? Oh, he's gonna get 1, but he needs to run away.
It's like 2 drones were killed. It could have been a lot more if he got there just a little bit faster. trutaCz was aware. He saw there was no detection there and just ran a couple Overlords over. One thing I noticed, Dragon is at 38 probes, so he did cut some probes to get those gateways up faster. He's going to try to get some pressure in here. trutaCz does have a 6 hatch already. This is one of the benefits of skipping the Spire.
Well, Overlords are going to be found by these Corsairs, and this is one of the downfalls of not having the Spire. Not only are you not able to build Scourge, but you also can't get that critical +1 armor upgrade on the Overlord. So if Corsairs ever reach a scary number like 5 and an isolated group of Overlords are spotted, all of a sudden Zerg will be supply blocked instantly. As you pointed out, the Protoss probe count was a little bit low, but now he's at 40, and that's pretty much the exact number you need on 2 bases. Maybe just a couple more would be nice, but 40 is fine to support this amount of gateways. You can see that Dragon's out on the map again, looking to put on some more pressure. I noticed he had 2 Templars done, so he's going to have at least 2 Storms available. Not too sure how big his army is, though.
Yeah, he does lose Ser there, and we see trutaCz actually droned up pretty heavily. And the key here is the Protoss Storms are going to be here already. He doesn't engage out on the map where he can have a lot more maneuverability. Where are the High Templars? Looks like one is coming here. He's fighting with drones. Nice storm there on the Hydras. Drones blocking the Zealots. It's actually very nice engagement. Looks like a storm on the drones.
Yeah, but is there just flat out too many Zealots? The Zealots are continuously rallying across the map. There were some Hydras back at the natural that were not helping during that fight. If trutaCz ends up winning this fight, he can thank those drones, because those drones have been doing work denying the Zealots from getting on top of the Hydras. But now the Archon has been morphed. It's not in the fight though.
The Archon's going to have add a lot of beef to this fight. The Zealots are going down. Looks like 6 more Zealots are on the way, but Dragon can't lose this Archon before the support arrives. Looks like it is going to fall, and I think trutaCz is just barely going to hold here. He does have a lot of production. He did lose a ton of drones there, though. He went from 48 to 35.
Well, if Dragon wants to attack, he needs to attack right now because lurkers are being morphed, and there's no way he has a robotics with an observer coming anytime soon, especially with such fast gateway production. Hydras are focusing down those zealots one by one, and now Dragon sees the lurkers are being morphed, so he should start queuing up the robot. Oh man, you hate to see that as a Protoss player. 50% done is the robotics when lurkers are already out in the field.
Okay, but trutaCz does have to make some drones here. Dragon doesn't have to worry about a counterattack right away. The only thing it could happen is a lurker contain. But because that attack did so much economic damage to trutaCz, Dragon, I think, is still fine here. Looks like this DT can get in. Looks like overload speed is done either way. So not going to get much done. One drone? Nope, not even that.
Nope, but as you mentioned, trutaCz does have to drone now. So for now, trutaCz is going to be on the back foot. We do see that this is 8-gate production from Dragon. Robo now has completed, observatory has started, and trutaCz has not moved any lurkers into position just yet. That I think is pure, oh no, it's not pure Hydras. So there is going to be a light contain. If Dragon goes for this Nexus, it's going to be instantly denied, so he needs to make sure that that does not happen. Yeah, goodbye probe. But this is a light contain. Dragon should be able to get out in the next couple minutes or next couple seconds or so. That is a lot of Templars. That's 6 Templars just sitting there and waiting.
+1 armor is on the way. There's not enough Hydras here to pick off that Forge.
Does he
Dragon. Oh, why did he? Kind of a waste of a storm there to just hit. Oh, and the +1 armor does go down.
He loses +1 armor at such a critical moment. And we know that trutaCz is going to have +1 weapon done any moment now, or it's already done. Okay, it is already done, so a big loss for Dragon again. And trutaCz has a great drone count. Unlike Michael, he's not all-inning with this. He's taking it at 4th base. He's already got 7 hatcheries. Lurkers are going to shell down these zealots, but actually that one lurker manages to escape. But this is going to give Dragon a little bit of breathing room, and he should be putting down that Nexus any moment now.
Yeah, good. Some nice patience there from Dragon. He saw he was winning that fight decisively. Didn't waste any storms. Now he's going to have a ton of storms by the time he gets to trutaCz's bases. Looks like trutaCz is going to try to hold that bridge. Sunken's going down at the 3rd. This is the most vulnerable base. And this is probably the most vulnerable time in the game for trutaCz. He's getting Hive, Queen's Nest Spire, 2nd Evolution Chamber. All these things cost minerals. It's going to be less units. And looks like there's just enough lurkers here. Dragon moving into the spines. Gonna have to retreat. Nope, looks like he's gonna go forward. A nice flank here from trutaCz from the right side.
Storms are beautiful. They hit a lot of the Hydralisk, and this might just be too many goons. Look at these exposed hatcheries. Dragoons can just range them down. That's going to be 1 hatchery going down, I think. There's really not that many Hydras on the bottom side, but Dragon does need to reinforce. He still has a couple storms available. There's one right there. He even has, I think, another storm on that Templar. Dragoons are starting to dwindle. No, they're not, actually. They're holding strong for now. Meanwhile, Dragon is rallying across the map. Look at supply. It's 123 to 67. Has Dragon done it?
It looks like this hatchery is going to go down, and Dragon's reinforcements arrive just in time. Zealots hanging back. They don't want to take these lurker spines. Dragon has to be careful not to lose these zealots. Dragoons just hitting the hatcheries and the Hydras from far away. Looks like he has 3 High Templars left. I don't know how many storms. And with only 1 lurker left, here come the zealots. Just going to overwhelm the Hydras. And I think Dragon has done it here.
Yeah, there's only a single lurker to support these Hydralisks, but maybe Dragon's going to be pushed back right now. He needs to reinforce this army. You can see that the Queen's Nest is there. That means Hive's going to be coming in pretty soon. Can't lose these Templars. It's the only AoE that Dragon has, and he loses 2 out of the 3. He might be able to save this 3rd one, but also notice double Evolution Chamber. So trutaCz is going to have a big upgrade advantage, especially since he sniped the Forge. +2's already done.
He's going to get up this high ground, and this is pretty bad for trutaCz. That 4th base is going to go down. Looks like a couple High Templars here are very exposed, and they do get some storms off, but the 4th base for trutaCz will go down. Adding to that hatchery loss, he's going to lose another one. He's going to be back down to 5 hatcheries. The only thing that's going to have in his favor is the Hive. Should have cracklings pretty soon, but they're not going to have any upgrades for a while.
supplies are now 70 to 126. Dragon has gotten that mineral only, so what we thought would be a hard base to take has not been very difficult for him at all. Now, Lings are starting to be produced by trutaCz, so you know adrenaline's going to be kicking in pretty soon, and they'll be chewing through that Protoss army since they don't have any armor upgrades, but trutaCz is on the back foot for now. He doesn't have his 4th base. This is a very sizable Protoss army. It's 139 supply to just 76. Dragon, I think he's setting up for a 4th base. Yep, he is at that gas base. He desperately needs that since that is the lifeline of Protoss, all those heavy tech units.
trutaCz has to buy a lot of time here. He has to buy time for Crackling to kick in. Probably get some upgrades from the Evolution Chamber, and really what's going to hold him back here is the lack of production. Again, we see a Zerg that's only on 5 hatcheries against a Protoss that's probably on 8-9 gateways. Economy is probably similar, but the lack of 4th base, lack of 3rd gas is really going to hurt trutaCz.
Yeah, more goons are being produced. I wonder if there's a Defiler mound anywhere. If we see Dark Swarm come out, that could nullify a lot of this army, since it seems to be mostly goons at this point. That is so many Lings, and they will crush through Protoss armies if they are not careful, especially if a plague can get off. Looks like these Lings are going to deny this 4th base for now. Nope, Storm is going to save the day. A couple cannons are going to fall, but not heavy losses. Still 150 supply to 100. 4th base of trutaCz has been denied. Again, he's going to catch a couple of units, but Dragon slowly running away with it.
trutaCz did try to get that 4th base canceled. That would have probably been a nice victory there, but he did lose his 4th, and on even basis with only 2 gas against a Protoss, not a lot of options here for trutaCz.
+2 weapon for Protoss and +1 armor is about halfway done. 4th base is up for Dragon. He just needs to transfer some probes over there, get that gas up and running. Looks like Lings and Lurkers will potentially be able to save the day and get that 4th base up. But as I say that, Protoss is just continually sending more and more units. I thought there was more Lurkers and Lings than there actually were. And a flank from the right side, there's just not enough trutaCz to actually secure this base. All these Lurkers and all these Lings are going to fall. That's not even canceled. That is a killed hatchery, and trutaCz is falling apart.
Yeah, that Dragon beat him to the spot, got up the ramp before trutaCz can reinforce, and then that makes it awkward for Zerg to be cost efficient. And Dragon, with his 4th base now secured, he's just gonna run away with this game. Looks like trutaCz is gonna try to pivot to a new base. So he's gonna cancel Dragon's 5th. And what are the upgrades like? Looks like 2-0 from the Protoss, and then 2 attack on the Hydras and Lurkers, but no upgrades yet for the Zerglings.
Well, he really needs to start thinking about getting Defilers. Maybe Plague, Dark Swarm can help change the tide. If he can, Dark Swarm that mineral only, he could kill it in a flash with just Lings, especially since Protoss is consistently at the top side of the map. But I haven't seen a single Defiler just yet. Again, trutaCz trying to take top left. Looks like now, this time around, he may be able to secure it. I still don't see a Defiler mount anywhere, but he does have 6 hatches. He does have his 7th hatch going up at top left. Is that? No, that is a sunken colony.
Nice Lurker spread here. He really just wants to hold on, but Dragon is playing this patiently. He's finding good engagements, good angles to attack from. It's like nice Storm there on a Lurker. Still has these Dragoons left. He hasn't made more Dragoons since the mid game. They just stayed alive this long.
He's done a good job to keep his powerful goon units alive all this time. Archon is doing work, but supplies are getting much closer. It's 120, or it was a moment ago, down to 80. Meanwhile, Dragon continuing to expand. Another hatchery for trutaCz. Actually getting worried that he has too many hatcheries, because his main and natural are going to be mined out pretty soon. And then really he's just going to be on 2 base mining with no 5th base anywhere in sight. Meanwhile, Dragon's 5th base is about to complete, so that's going to be 4 gas Protoss for him. Super dangerous once Protoss gets to that state in the game.
Now this base is probably not, this attack is probably not going to work with 3 Lurkers and a Sunken on this ramp. trutaCz also catching a couple of reinforcing High Templars, but is now this base exposed. Looks like some Lurkers maneuvering over to defend. And it's actually going to be awkward for Dragon to attack from this position, I think, but he just has so much of the map. Zerg is still not going to have a great economy because, like you said, main and natural about to mine out.
Well, Dragon has a lot of Templars, and I'd really like to see him start morphing more into Archons, especially since he has +3 coming along. He'll just chew through all these Zerglings very, very quickly. The standing army of trutaCz really isn't that scary. It's almost like half of it is in Lurkers, and they're just obviously defensively placed. Again, Dragon's trying to bust through, but there's just Lurkers all over the place. He really can't bust through anywhere. Maybe if he can get storms on every single Lurker, he'll finally be able to make some headway. But for now, trutaCz has had immaculate defense. Oh, he can't storm his own units.
Looks like trutaCz is trying to get a flank here, but he's only attacking from one side. Looks like all the Lurkers have him burrowed. He's trying to pick off this army before it can retreat. Tons of spines going off on the high Templars, but the Lurkers are clumped.
He does take down what seemed to be 4 Templar, though. trutaCz is crawling back into this game. He's got his 4th base up. 5th base at that mineral, or at that normal gas base below the 4th base could be where he wants to take his 5th one. It's very close, so I'm sure. Oh, actually, he's going to try and take another main at top left. He's beaten Dragon to the punch over there. Actually, Dragon doesn't have that many probes at his 5th base, I don't think, but you can see that 3-2 is going to be kicking in pretty soon for Protoss. There's support base, so we're going to have some Reaver action coming in for the Protoss also. But yeah, Dragon goes to this 5th base and sees that Lurkers are already set up, and he's not going to be happy about that.
It's going to be pretty hard to break once Lurkers are up the ramp. But again, no Nidus. The hatchery hasn't even been placed.
Paździors are going to try and supplement this small Lurker force. There's only 4. He needs to get up this ramp if Protoss wants to win this game, or he's got to deny this other main base from trutaCz. Meanwhile, Dragon is taking the 6th base at the mineral only. That's a great storm. It's going to force the retreating units to eat it up. Meanwhile, still a 60 supply lead for Protoss at this point. Now almost 70, but Zerg is starting to get heavily upgraded too.
We have 3-2 from Protoss, and I think the Lings are still only on 1-1. trutaCz going to try to take another base, but here we go. We even have Scourge here to support. If he can pick off all the observers, looks like only 1 observer left, and it goes down. I mean, if I were Dragon there, I would just run up 5 Zealots and kill the hatchery. No reason to retreat all the way.
Oh, he has another observer on top of the hatchery that he didn't realize. I'm still waiting to see if there's going to be a single defiler anywhere. Oh my god, a Lurker container is going to be set up outside. And remember, these Zealots already ate a lot of Lurker shots, so they are not the healthiest. And you can see how fast they are dying, and trutaCz is mounting a comeback here.
Yeah, with no observers to detect, these Zealots are going to be free pickings for these Zergs. He does have Archons, but again, this army is trapped until an observer can support.
It's still a huge supply lead for Dragon, though, almost doubling in supply still. But this is starting to get a bit dicey, especially if he can cut off all of these units on the left side. Lings and Lurkers are continuing to flood to the left side. Here comes that observer. Finally, he'll be able to clean up these Lurkers, but he took a lot of losses. And now the Scourge come in and instantly kill it, and there's still 1 Lurker left over.
If we look at the economy from both players, looks like trutaCz is actually double expanding. He has other bases other than this one, and this is what he needs to do. He needs to come back in this game economically as well. He's taking nice engagement, so Dragon has a ton of production. Looks like the Nidus finally here, and now with the Nidus, this base is not going to be killed.
Yeah, and Dragon's letting it slip away. He's going to find this hatchery on the left side. He should be able to kill that. He's still up massively. Now shuttles are starting to come into play. He's going to start doing some harassment. But it is getting a little bit dicey for him if trutaCz can get that 5th base up and running. We saw that the Lings were at 1-2 upgrade, so they're going to be matching the Protoss upgrade pretty soon, and we know Lings hit like a truck. Yep, there's going to be +2 right there. The Zerglings are going to be hitting really hard. Can Dragon bust through this top left base? The Lurkers are just barely in the nick of time.
Oh my god, this is chaos here. So many Zealots, but so many Lurkers. Looks like the storm goes down on those clump Lurkers. All of the Lurkers go down. Zealots go down as well, but Dragon is just flooding in here with more units. Just so many Zealots.
But oh, I don't even know where that observer is, but he finds the kill onto that lone Lurker, and this looks like what's going to break the camel's back. There's nothing left for trutaCz. He's down to 60 supply, 160 for Dragon, and it looks like he's going to be the one to make it out of this group in first place.
Yeah, what a game from Dragon, just patiently probing, trying to find good angles to engage from. It was actually immaculate defense from trutaCz to hold on this long from such a disadvantage, but looks like Dragon finally breaks through, kills this healthy base, and look at Dragon's map control. He has 6-7 bases out on the map. His standing army is massive, his upgrade advantage is still there, and he has cannons and high Templars at all the bases, so GG.
Yep, there it is. trutaCz taps out, and it's going to be Dragon making it out in first place. And trutaCz, who looked so good last season, specifically versus Protoss, ends up falling this time around to a Protoss player, and he's going to be waiting in the deciders match, the winner of Ptak versus Michael. So whoever wins that particular series, like, hey, you got a gift. You're going to be facing trutaCz. I don't know if anybody really wants that gift, though. trutaCz is such a monster in ZVZ. But what amazing play from Dragon. He had a lead the entire game, and even though it looked dicey at some situations, he does manage to close it out.
Key moment there was when Dragon arrived at trutaCz's third base with like a control group of Zealots and 2 high Templars. If that fight were elsewhere, if that were in the middle of the map, the Hydras could outmaneuver the Zealots and just snipe the high Templars. But the fact that Dragon got there with 2 storms on each high Templar made it very difficult for trutaCz to engage, and he lost a ton of drones. He went from 48 to 35 after that attack.
Yeah, that was definitely game-changing in favor of Dragon, but also you have to remember, trutaCz sniped +1 armor, and I thought once that got sniped, I was like, oh my god, now Hydras are just going to reign supreme. So Dragon got very lucky that he still ends up taking a victory there. He lost +1 weapon in the first game, loses +1 armor in the second game, but I did like how he expanded. He consistently took bases all game long. Unlike Michael, who stayed on 3 bases, the entirety of the game, Dragon continued to build up his base count. He was up to 6 at the end. I was getting worried once trutaCz had the 5th base, but Dragon, he takes the victory there. And now we're going to be going into a ZVZ between Ptak and Michael. We saw Ptak fall very quickly versus trutaCz, so we don't really know his state of ZVZ. And then Michael, of course, we saw a ZVP earlier, so we don't know what he's going to bring to the table in ZVZ. But before we get into that, we're going to go into a quick commercial break, and then we're going to find out who's going to be eliminated from Group B. We are back with some more BSL action. We just saw Dragon make it out in first place, and that's going to set us up for a ZVZ losers match and a ZVZ deciders match. trutaCz waiting the winner of Ptak and Michael. So we're going to be going into that particular matchup coming up in just a couple minutes. The map is going to be Shakura's Temple. Have you ever played ZVZ or ZVP on there, SeriOsity?
No, I have not. This is a new map for me. Not familiar with this map.
Yeah, so this map, we were looking at the statistics the other day. This is heavily Terran favored, but no Terrans here, so that's not going to be a factor. It's going to be ZVZ. Now, we saw Ptak actually go for a pretty great opener with the 12 pool into the 9 pool, but got picked apart by trutaCz. Now, Michael, we saw he had immaculate lane control versus Dragon. He killed so many probes, but was not able to transition it into a victory. But because of what I saw versus Dragon with the Lings, I think we may see a repeat here where Lings might just pick Ptak apart.
If you are the better player, or if you think you're the better player, you're going to go for 9 pool in ZVZ for a couple of reasons. One, it really lets you control the tempo of the game, even if they go with 12 pool, as you saw in the game against from trutaCz and against Ptak. If you can outmaneuver the 12 pool, 9 pool can still win. And if you get a 12 hatch, 9 pool wins outright. And if you get a 9 pool, then it's just a mirror and you should feel comfortable as the better player. So basically, I expect Michael to go 9 pool.
Yeah, I also expect Michael to go for a 9 pool or something quite aggressive to utilize his great micro skills. It would be surprising to me if we see a 12 hatch play from him. Meanwhile, as I stated before, I think that Ptak is going to be the underdog in this group, and because of that, we may see him go for a more greedy opener like we saw initially versus trutaCz, but did not transition that into a victory. So we are just waiting for the players to be ready now. We are getting a look at the statistics as stated before. Ptak coming from Gosu League. I don't think he has any games played in Pro League at all, so these are all Gosu League statistics. Meanwhile, Michael did play in BSL Season 11. He got into the round of 16 and then was eliminated quite quickly. So not a lot of sample size really from any of these players. But yeah, I do expect to see 9 pool or an aggressive opener from Michael. We're getting a look at the Titan Reactor version of Shakura's Temple. This map has a lot of ramps, and I personally find it very hard to deal with Protoss. But Terran somehow dominates this map. It has a wide open center of the map, so backstabs that don't get scouted could be very deadly from Zerg. There's a lot of pathways, as I mentioned before. So Ptak and Michael are going to have to be very cognizant of potential backstab pass that the opponent wants to use. But with that said, let's get into our elimination match of the day. It's going to be between Ptak and Michael.
I'm looking at the statistics there. It was 2-1. Terran against Protoss. All right, here in the bottom right position, we have the American Zerg in the blue color, Michael.
And in the bottom left, we have our red Zerg player, unfortunately scouting the wrong way. It is Ptak. So that is going to be a bit of a misstep here. You can't blame him for this scout pattern because the natural is that direction. But luckily for Michael, he's going to be the one with the favorable scout. So all eyes are on the openers. Of course, is anybody going to go for 12 hatch? Is anybody going to get aggressive? We both expect Michael to be the one that's going to be the aggressive player here.
Yeah, not really much going on until we see either Zerg build up more than 100. Are they going to go for that Overlord? Are they going to go for that pool? Highly unlikely to see 12 hatch in a best of 1, especially in an elimination match. But anything can happen, really. And looks like Michael did go for that Overlord Sword at Ptak.
So that is going to be Extractor. I thought it was going to be an Extractor trick from Michael, but instead he's just going to bank up the gas. And meanwhile, Ptak ends up going for probably going to be another 12 pool. We'll see if he wants to put down that 12 hatch. But this is already an interesting opener from Michael. It's going to be gas pool.
Yeah, this is over gas from Michael. He makes the gas first at 9, and then the pull at 9. This is just to get the fastest layer possible. And he's going to have a nice economy compared to a 9.1. Looks like we have in-base 12 hatch from Ptak. So both players doing less common opener, and it's going to be pretty interesting. I haven't seen these two builds face off against each other.
Yeah, so as I was talking about earlier in the trutaCz series, I really did expect Ptak to do something weird, something like a 3-hatch Ling all-in, and that might be the case here because we see the hatch in the main. He may follow up with a hatch at the third base. The Overlords intercept each other, so now Michael knows that this is where Ptak is. Now, have you faced off against this particular opener in ZVZ? Like, if you're in Michael's shoes here where you open with a 1-hatch type of play, what's your move going up against somebody that's obviously going to be flooding Lings in your face pretty quickly?
In Michael's position, you see they're going to be on 1 base, so they're going to be limited to 1 gas. You're going to have that muta advantage, so all you have to do is not die to the mass Ling and eventually get up your own expansion. You build up to 4 mutas so you can one-shot the Lings, and then you take off gas to get that expansion up, and you'll be in a comfortable position. All you have to do is not die. And from Ptak's position, if this were 12 hatch with an expansion, you would actually be much better off. But because it's in his main, it's only 1 gas. The economic advantage you get from 12 hatch isn't really going to pay off. And you actually see he takes off gas. He only got enough for speed. So this is either going to be a Ling all-in or he's going to go for that 3rd hatch at the natural.
Yep, there is the 3rd hatch coming down for Ptak. So this is going to be tons and tons of Lings being thrown at Michael, and he's going to have to be very careful to have the perfect SimCity with his Sunken, perfect SimCity with his Spire. I see that Michael has Lings already across the map. He's going to go for an instant counterattack as soon as he sees that Ptak's moving across the map. But remember, this is only 1-hatch production for Michael. He's going to have to defend with a minimal amount of Lings, but Lings are already in the base of Ptak. That's a great drone drill, though.
It's like 2 drones go down right away, but Michael does have speed. Ptak went for 12 hatch. He's going to have much later speed. Michael trying to get a nice engagement on these Lings as they hatch. Looks like he's not going to be able to do that. He's going to try to outmaneuver the Lings. We already have enough Lings here at the ramp with this concave. So even though he's only on 1 hatch, he's using his Lings effectively. And you can see there's the speed finally for Ptak.
Yeah, one of the drones for Ptak is not mining, so hopefully he fixes that because that's a lot of lost mining, especially when you only have 9 drones in total. 1 drone, almost, it does fall. So actually, Michael has the drone lead. He has the Ling lead right now. He's got the tech lead. He's held on to his ramp. Everything so far looks very good. But Ptak is going to have so much larva at his disposal. Oh, actually, Michael does not have that many Lings left over, and Ptak has so many Lings coming at him.
Looks like Michael taking off gas, realized he doesn't need that much more gas to hold this off. He just needs more Lings and good defense. Mutas are going to help him once they pop, but they do take a long time to build.
Oh, he's supply blocked.
Yeah, he supply blocked 1 Overlord in production. How many mutas this is actually? Looks like just 1 muta. There's the drone drill. Nice sunken positioning, but is it enough? Does he have enough to hold off? He's losing drones. It's like the Lings aren't targeting very well. Another drone goes down, so Michael's down to what, 5 drones?
Yeah, and there is a muta out, but it's just a single muta. There's Lings in the base of Ptak, and he is going for the Evolution Chamber follow-up. Also, Ptak is down to 7 drones, so both players' econ has been ransacked. You can see how little econ he actually has because he can't even use his 3rd hatch. None of that larva is being used at all. Ptak is trying to draw the focus of these Mutalisks so he can get that creep colony up in time. Mutas are now going to sit over top of the drones and may actually pop 1 or 2 of these drones.
It's like 1 drone goes down, and 1 drone here is actually massive. It's like, oh, Muta kills it and manages to run away. Now we're up to 3 mutas, and this expansion is going to go down. Ptak is just limited in his options here. If he had kept enough drones alive to get 1 spore down at each base, he would have been fine. But looks like Michael ran in a couple of Lings during all that chaos and managed to weaken Ptak's economy. And now, even economies is just whoever has the tech advantage is in a dominant position here. And Michael really just has to hold off any kind of Ling counterattack, and he'll be fine. It looks like Muta's in conjunction with the Lings coming in, and this is probably going to be the finishing blow here.
Yeah, this looks like an almost unlosable position for Michael right now, especially since Ptak can't even mine gas at all. Lings in the main of Michael are going to try and find a little bit of damage, but okay, he takes down a drone. That's great. Michael's down to 4 drones. That's it. But Ptak loses his 3rd hatch. He doesn't have anything to deny these mutas from harassing the top side, especially the spawning pool. He could actually kill that. That's a lot of lings, though.
Yeah, Michael always has to be careful with counterattacks with only 1 hatchery, but the mutas are just hitting these lings, so they're going to be really softened up. And Michael has enough lings to put on some kind of pressure here. If he can just kill this boar, the mutas will have control of the north side of his base. It looks like spawning pool is exposed, the gas is exposed, second spore is exposed, and just too many lings now from Michael.
Yeah, there's way too many lings. Lings are going to pop out for Ptak, but he's going to knock down that spore before these lings can save the day. Meanwhile, Michael must suspect that there's a counterattack because he moved his Mutalisk way far to the center of the map. But we see that there is no ling counterattack anywhere. Now Mutas come back. They are going to pick off that extractor, or at least try to. May just sit over the spawning pool and deny any more lings being produced from Ptak, but instead he is just keeping those lings at bay, making sure that they do not go for a counterattack. Behind this, Michael is slowly building up his drone count. He's got it back up to 7 now.
Yeah, and once Michael gets enough drones to saturate and start mining gas, this game is really going to just go in his way. It's already way Michael favored because Ptak doesn't have the economy. Ptak would need a full mineral line here to just constantly produce lings and keep Michael at bay, because as you can see here, with only 1 spore, you can't cover the entire base. Pool's going to go down, gas is exposed. Even that spore that's going to be made is actually losing HP from the splash.
Yeah, spawning pool falls, spore colony is going to get up, so that's going to prevent the mutas from winning the game. However, that means lings can no longer be built. So these are the only remaining lings for Ptak right now. He sees the bad news that Michael has a 2nd hatch going up in his main, so the larva advantage is going to be non-existent now. Tech advantage obviously in favor of Michael, and this is probably going to be GG any second now. Michael can just go sunken rush him if he wants. Like, there would be no counter to it.
Yeah, no options left for Ptak. Looks like he's, I mean, he has a drone here, but he's
attacking his own hatchery. He's had enough of this. He's just killing off his own buildings. And this is going to be the end of Patak's run in the BSL. He's going to eliminate himself. He's not going to give Michael the opportunity to eliminate him.
Yeah, Michael's going to come in here and see.
Well, unfortunately for Ptak, did not go according to plan. I mean, he played pretty much as I expected. He was going to go for mass ling style, but the control of Michael a little bit too strong. We saw trutaCz pick him apart also. So unfortunately, Ptak is going to be eliminated in the round of 24, and hopefully we'll see him in future BSLs. And Michael is going to move on, and he's going to be facing trutaCz.
Yeah, as we saw, even though these were completely different openers, the loss is basically the same. Michael's able to get in lings that had speed, and it just snowballed there from for Ptak. He couldn't keep up.
Yeah, and it just was too much, Michael. Michael's just too good with his lings. He picked off multiple drones with them also. He had the tech lead. He had great concave at the ramp. Great drone drill, too. You have to say that, because there was like 20 lings attacking him when he only had 8 lings and like a sunken, and that was it. So overall, great defense from trutaCz, or from Michael. And this is going to set us up for a very intense micro battle between 2 of the best ling control and muta control players that the foreign scene has.
Yeah, this is going to be, I would still say favorite trutaCz, but Michael, pretty impressive play from him. Gonna see what happens in this final ZZZ.
Yeah, and this is going to be on Shakura's temple again, and I feel like that kind of gives a little bit of advantage to Michael, just slightly, right? Because he's now warmed up. He's played more games than trutaCz. Has he played? No, he's played a similar amount of games than trutaCz, but one of them is on Shakura's temple. Now, these games are from replay, so they're not live. So it's not like trutaCz watched this game and saw, oh, well, Michael ended up going for, an aggressive 9-pool over gas opener. He has no idea that that's the opener that Michael has already shown. So we may see that a second time from Michael here.
It's a pretty strong build. It does very well against 9 pool and 12 pool. You do worry about it against 12 hatch when it's an expansion, but it's a build you use to mix it up. And because it's a 4-player map, you're not likely to get scouted right away.
Yeah, so we'll see if Michael wants to opt for the same build. I probably would go for the same build, especially since I know that it's not live and trutaCz cannot have a read on it unless he asks Ptak exactly, hey man, what did Michael end up going for? Again, we're getting a look at the statistics. 70% win rate for trutaCz, just ridiculous across the board. Meanwhile, that's actually the first win for Michael in ZVZ, so nicely done by him. It's going to get him over the 0% mark there.
Yeah, and we have trutaCz. Just, I mean, other than Bonif, I think trutaCz has had the strongest runs in BSL, and Michael, a newcomer somewhat. Can he make his stamp in BSL? Can he advance further out of his group?
Yeah, you know, I was out of the scene for a long time, but a lot of people had been talking to me about Michael, like Michael this, Michael that. He's the Cheese King, he can do all this. He's the best player in NA for a long time. I heard that. Can you give us some feedback on Michael? Like, does he have a chance versus trutaCz here? Is it possible he can take down somebody of trutaCz's caliber?
I would say when Michael was active and playing, it was probably about 8-9 years ago, probably even more, when he was at the top of his game. trutaCz has been in the scene probably that time, and he's been active. He's been participating in tournaments. He is a huge favorite here, but it is best of 1 and it is ZVZ. So I would say there's maybe like a 20% chance at best for Michael to get something done here.
Yeah, I think ZVZ is trutaCz's best matchup, so it's going to be very hard. Again, we're getting a look at the map. It is Shakura's temple, so we just saw Michael on it, so he's got a little bit of confidence going into his second appearance on Shakura. So I want to find out whether trutaCz is going to be eliminated. So let's just get straight into the elimination match, or the deciders match, I mean. It's going to be between trutaCz and Michael. Right, in the blue in the bottom left, and he is going to scout correctly. It is Michael.
And in the top left, we have the red Zerg trutaCz, and they're both going to scout each other right away, something we haven't seen in any of the previous ZVZs.
Yeah, and this was an interesting scout pattern from trutaCz, because you would expect it to go to the right side since the natural is that direction, but instead he's going to go for what Gypsy called the clown scout yesterday. More often than not.
Usually when Zerg does something like this, an unorthodox scouting pattern, it's because they're going to go for something unorthodox. It doesn't guarantee that it's going to be that way, but usually that's what happens.
All right, well, ZVZ, what's an unorthodox build? Because it seems like almost anything is viable. But what comes to mind for you when you think unorthodox?
Well, I would say even 12 hatch is a little bit unorthodox, 9 hatch, and what Michael did last game with the overgas build. Basically, 9 pool and 12 pool are what you see in 80% of the games. And here we're going to see the Overlord scouting chart. And it looks like Michael is doing the same build.
Yep, so this is going to be the overgas you were talking about. We do see that trutaCz is the one that was powering, and this is going to be a 12 pool. I thought it might have been a 12 hatch, but based on what you were saying, it makes sense. Like, if he intercepts this Overlord, he can make a decision right then and there to go for 12 pool. If he doesn't intercept the Overlord, well, he knows Michael doesn't know where he is yet, obviously, so he probably would have gone for 12 hatch in that scenario. But as played, he's just going to go into the 12 pool, and he's going to get into Michael's base pretty quickly and see that this is an early gas opener from Michael. I'm not sure if he'll be able to tell the distinction between a 9 pool and an overgas, but there is the follow-up hatchery for trutaCz.
We have 12 pool expand against overgas, so Michael's going to have a much faster tech, but it's going to be 1 hatch against 2, and trutaCz has a few options here because he does get that immediate scout. Like, one of the benefits of overgas is that you can hold your rent for a little bit and your opponent doesn't know what you're up to, but with this Overlord getting in right away, he's going to see the build. So I would say slight advantage trutaCz here.
And trutaCz is pulling off of gas one of his drones. He did not use that 100 gas, so it seems he's going to match the lair timing instead of going into fast speed. But as I say that, 100 gas got spent, and I guess it is going to be speed now. Meanwhile, first few lings are out for trutaCz. He still doesn't... Okay. He is just going to wait with those lings. He's not going to branch off a couple too and go for a backstab. At least not just yet.
Yeah, Michael is going to have slightly faster speed, but again, you need to do a ton of damage with lings when you commit with one hatchery. All trutaCz has to do here is kind of hold this ramp. This looks similar to 9 pool against 12 pool, but Michael does have a stronger economic position than a 9 pool, and also he has way later lings. And there's a spire from Michael. This is the benefit of the build. You get really fast lair.
Yep, speed has kicked in for Michael, so he's harassing that hatchery a little bit. You can see trutaCz has pulled off 2 drones. Looking at the ling count for Michael versus trutaCz right now, I actually don't think trutaCz needs these drones, but for now he is going to bounce around with them. Hatchery is maybe about 75% of the way. Speed's about to kick in for trutaCz, and you see he instantly jumps on those lings.
Yeah, that was he got a little bit trapped there, and now Michael has to go back to his base, try to get a good comp kick, because trutaCz has 2 hatcheries.
Yeah, this
looks
is
like
trutaCz.
Yeah, he nicely keeping a couple of links back, because when you're playing ZVZ, Zergs don't just run back to their base. They always leave an option of a counterattack with a couple of links out on the map, which Michael has. He hasn't moved them yet because he's concerned with the pressure trutaCz is putting on, but well aware of the strategy. You can see trutaCz leaves a few links back just in case.
Well, this spire is almost done for Michael, and meanwhile the spire hasn't even started for trutaCz. So I'm getting a little worried for him. This is most likely going to be drones. Yep, there it is, and evolution chamber follow-up. First 3 mutas are being built. There's the evolution chamber. He needs to scramble to get up a couple of creep colonies though, because mutas are going to pop out any second now.
All right, 1 in the main, and you can see, I mean, trutaCz had a few options there. He could have gone for ling all-in and just trying to bust the ramp if he felt he was in a good position with the early link bite. It looks like he's going to transition into spores and just win 2 bases against 1. Michael here going to use these mutas to ward off these links, and now he's going to have an option to get a muta ling attack. If he can get lings up the ramp, it's going to be very awkward for trutaCz to engage with mutas hovering above that ramp.
Look at this. Yeah, okay. I was thinking, wow, that's a mistake to build a sunken colony there, because how are you going to defend the Mutalist? He cancels it and now makes a spore, and losing this Overlord would be a big loss to Michael. Hopefully that does not happen. It survives with 1 hit. Luckily, he's able to save that Overlord, and now Michael is going to take his natural himself.
Okay, trutaCz holding here. He needs a sunken. You actually want a sunken in this position because the mutas can force you into awkward engagements with your links. But it looks like Michael not using his mutas. 2 spores, nicely placed, can't really use them. Links getting surrounded by trutaCz, even pulling off a few drones. Looks like Michael still manages to win there.
There's no lings left over, and Michael, if he can get on top of this sunken, okay, luckily trutaCz gets a couple lings popping out, and he is going to hold on. And that 4 drone lead that trutaCz had a minute ago, now it's just a single drone, and obviously Michael has a massive tech advantage. Michael's going to back off for now with his Mutalist. He knows that a lot of lings are coming. He needs to hold this natural, and if he does, he's going to be in a great position versus trutaCz, who still doesn't have a spire.
One thing I noticed, Michael only made 3 mutas. You really want 4, because 4 mutas one-shot the Zerglings, and looks like trutaCz is flooding in. This is what he needs to do. He needs to get some economic damage done on Michael. All these spores that he made really hurt his economy, and trutaCz doesn't have a spire quite yet. He can't afford everything. He needs to defend. He's trying to put on some pressure with lings so he can build back up his economy, and here we go. Michael defended that nicely. He's building up his mutas count. There's some lings in the main. This is key. Michael is on top of it. There's lings at the net. This is very hectic. Michael is just, I think this is night defense. More lings coming from trutaCz. You can see the mini map. Lings flooding across the map.
Yeah, but trutaCz isn't finding much success here. Yeah, he killed another drone, but it's still 10 to 10. There's still no spire for for Michael, or for trutaCz, I mean. The Lings at the natural are going to get taken out too. Ling in the main is going to get taken out, and all these Lings really didn't do the damage that trutaCz was looking for. He's streaming more Lings across the map. He's really trying to get that hatchery. It's getting dangerously low. It's at about 500 health now. Meanwhile, 4 Lings in the main are going to find another drone kill.
Michael does have a significant amount of mutas now, but what happens with mutas is that they're all together. They can only defend one location. You really need to branch off a few just to defend this natural. Looks like the hatchery is in the low red, but now no Lings left for trutaCz. And looks like Michael will stabilize here.
Yeah, he has 9 mutas. That is a ton of mutas. But now, with the Spire coming up for trutaCz, if he goes for an attack into the main with the mutas, that's going to draw the mutas all the way to the main, and then that will leave an opportunity for the Lings to go and kill that hatchery. It is dangerously low. It's at, what does that say, like 140 health for the hatch. So he's got to be very careful to keep that hatchery alive. Michael still has the worker lead, still obviously has the muta lead. It's 9 mutas. Scourger coming out for trutaCz, but this is probably going to trigger a counterattack from trutaCz as soon as he sees that the mutas are across the map.
Yeah, there's a counterattack right away. This is advantage Michael, but this hatchery is very low HP. No way just Lings will be able to hold that off. Looks like the Scourge trying to come in, distract the mutas a little bit for the Zerglings to get their damage done. Looks like targeting the hatchery right away. It goes down, and I think trutaCz with that move is right back into this game. I would still say advantage Michael slightly because the number of mutas for Michael is just, it's going to take forever for trutaCz to build up a muta count like this.
Yeah, we can see that the first 3 mutalists are now out for trutaCz. The 4th one is coming in. Meanwhile, Michael still has the drone advantage sitting at 13, but losing that hatchery really does hurt. He should really use that extra larva at the natural also before it does expire. Meanwhile, that is a creep colony going down in the main of Michael. I guess he's worried about a potential counterattack. Meanwhile, trutaCz now feeling confident. He finally starts droning. He's going to start taking his nat gas also. But still, Michael has a sizable gas buildup. He's got 450 just laying around. Those could be 4 mutas coming pretty soon. Is he going to engage this? I feel like this is not the move he wants to take.
It's like a muta goes down. He's down to 8. But this isn't enough mutas to, I think, break this. Looks like he is going to reinforce, so maybe he can. The Spore is halfway down. trutaCz realizing this is actually a big threat. He needs to defend the Spore. It does cover the middle line and some of the gas. But again, he's not getting shots off on the Spore. He's engaging the mutas and the Scourge. And his muta count is going down. He's already lost 3. And 2 are in the very, very low red, purple. I mean,
this feels like suicide. He keeps running in, and he's targeting down the Spore, but the Spore is dishing out so much DPS. Also, the Scourge have connected almost every single time, but now this does expose that extractor at the natural, and I guess that's really what Michael wanted to get because he knows he has a sizable muta lead, and as long as trutaCz can't catch up with the nat gas, he should turn this into a victory. Drones were still transferred anyways. They get picked off.
You can see trutaCz is not even going to deal with this. He's going to counter right away. He knows Michael doesn't have any anti-air back at his base if his mutas are here. Looks like Michael going to go for the drones, but this seems like suicide.
Oh my god, he's going to lose all of them. I think the Scourge might connect too, and he has no defense in his main. He's just running around with the Mutalist.
This.
What?
I'm speechless. I mean, trutaCz made magic happen with killing that second hatchery, but even then, Michael was still in a commanding position, and then Michael killed himself with that mutalist play. I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe he thought his position was worse, but he was still. All he had to do was retake his expansion and play patiently from there. Getting the Spore at the natural, I think, was enough. It would have been 1 gas against 1. All he had to do was worry about muta counterattacks to his base. But that was not the play.
That was definitely not the move. And it could have just been a misread, as you said. He really was in a fantastic spot despite losing the hatchery. But apparently he felt like it was not the case. and he just runs into spores for like 10 seconds straight, and just a simple counterattack with 3 mutas wins the game. So I guess trutaCz is gonna move on, but it was very dicey, and his ZVZ, which is usually very immaculate, I'm a bit worried now because it didn't look that fantastic versus Michael, and I think going into the round of 16 and beyond, he's going to have a much harder time versus players like Eon Zerg, who are clearly much better in ZVZ. But it is what it is. trutaCz makes it out regardless, so it's going to be DragOn and trutaCz making it out of Group B today.
Not a surprise that these two players get out. Maybe the order they did is a surprise, but strong play from DragOn today, and also a little bit dicey there for trutaCz against Michael, but he was able to pull it out with some clutch link play, just outmaneuvering Michael in his vein with the links, hitting the natural.
Yeah, it was just, I don't know. Michael played very well until the very end, so I'm a bit sad about that, but sometimes you just have a misread and you throw the game like that. It happens to the best of us. But that's going to wrap up Group B. We are now going to be going into Group F, and you definitely don't want to go anywhere because we've got the big Gyp making his BSL appearance. So you definitely want to check that out. So don't go anywhere because we're going to be back in just a couple minutes.